Hi, I'm Steve Matthes, Transworld Motocross editor-at-large and former factory mechanic. Hey, do you want to make your YZ250F handle better? Do you want to be able to slice through the turns like no other? Well, thanks to Dr. D and a radiator lowering kit, I'm going to show you how. And that's all on this week's Transworld Motocross How-To, presented by Bike Bandit. Alright, so we've got our bike here. You take the seat off, a couple 10mm bolts, take the bolts out the radiators, shrouds, they come off. You're going to need it to get access to the radiator in here. You can pull this louver off as well. Got these cool little anodized red Dr. D lowering kit. Funny story for this. When I was a factory Yamaha mechanic, we noticed a great improvement by raising and lowering the motor by 2-3 millis using the motor mounts. And it worked really well. Riders liked it. They seemed to be able to get into the ruts easier and carve a little better. So one of the things I was put in charge was, what else could we do? And I came up with, wait for this, radiator lowering kit, factory Yamaha style. We tested it. It took me a little while to fabricate it, as I'm kind of a monkey with that stuff. Fabricated it, worked out great. We made some cool little pieces, but the funny thing is DRD's radiator lowering kit doesn't stray far from my original design. I promise you. And my lawyers are contacting Doug Dubuck as we speak. But anyways, in the meantime, let's get busy. Alright, so for just about 70 bucks, you can buy this, starting at 70 bucks, you can buy this kit. And the real cool thing about it is it's going to improve your bike's handling performance, and you don't even have to drain your coolant. So what you want to do is, each radiator has 3 bolts on this particular model. You want to take those out like so. And like I said, no draining of the coolant, but you do have to loosen the hoses because you're going to be dropping the radiator. So just back off the hose clamps. And when I say back off the hose clamps, I mean back them off all the way to the end, because the hoses really like that, the extra little flex that the clamps give you when you back them off all the way to the end. Otherwise you'll be struggling. Alright, so now we're ready to install the lower. Alright, so if you can see in here, the bolts are on the radiator, the hoses are loose, radiator is able to move around. I've installed the 6 lowering kits from Dr. D. Also, because you're moving the radiator down, you have to change the middle radiator shroud mount. So basically put that in there. Very important, leave everything loose at first to make sure you line everything up. Also, put some blue Loctite on there. You can see it's loose. Put some blue Loctite on those bolts, because just to play it safe. I know when I was pioneering this, I used blue Loctite, so good enough reason. Alright, so we've got all the mounts set. Now we're ready to put the radiators down lower. Alright, what you want to do is line up the brackets to where you want the bolts to be. And then, again, with the bolts have Loctite on them, install your 8mm bolt where you want to be. Back it back out, tighten up your Dr. D mount, and then reinsert the bolt there. If you really want, you can trim your hoses here to make it maybe a little bit more fashionable, but on some models the hoses just simply slide up to take up the water pipe. You want to make sure you tighten your hose clamps back up. Bad idea if you don't. And again, everything's sort of loose, so you know, you kind of have some play with it. The radiators can float a little bit. Make sure you're all straight. Make sure your bolts are lined up, and then get busy tightening them. Alright, the louver is on, and every bike that you put the Dr. D lowering kit on, you're going to have to, again, the mounting point of the shrouds stay the same. So you're going to have to line it up and install the bolts like so. And I know from doing the other side that these bolts, these lowering kits, have to basically angle straight up. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten them straight up. Just put my thumb there and hold it so I can get it to the position that I need it, which is 12 o'clock. Alright, ready for the shroud. All told, that took me about 30 minutes, which wasn't too bad. And as I said, we did this at Factory Yamaha, So Dr. D is bringing the factory specifications to you, the privateer. All right, we put the shroud back on. We've lined up the bolts. Don't tighten the first bolt. Leave them all loose. Get them in, get them started, and then tighten them in a numbered order. And we've got 18 millimeters of lowering done on the radiators, but it's seconds off your lap times. Thanks to Dr. D for this. You'll notice a big difference. And my name is Steve Matthes, and that has been this week's Transworld Motocross How-To presented by Bike Bandit.